makes you for
our regular
Exide. All the right stuff is right here. That's Penske Auto Center. It's the quality car care system.
Budget-priced Penske car care batteries also available from $44.99 on sale daily.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Hey, good evening. We're watching very cold air now seeping its way south of Philadelphia with eyes on Baltimore and Washington. When I say very cold, I'm meaning cold enough to cause problems, we feel, for the morning rush hour come Thursday morning with icing. And then in the thicker, colder air, if you will, around Allentown in New York, it looks like a rather extended period of snow developing late tonight with sleet mixed in at times, and then eventually a transition over to freezing rain later on Thursday. I'll show you what's happened upstream a little bit, take you down to Cincinnati, Ohio. A lot of glazing on the roadways and on the cars here. You can see what did fall froze on contact. Air temperature is now running right around 30, give or take a degree or two in greater Cincinnati. And we are seeing a fair amount of trouble for pedestrians and travelers on the highway. Take it easy, especially, I'd say, north of the Ohio River on I-75. So some big concerns here in the Ohio Valley. The good news is there's not going to be too much longer, I'd say, of the precipitation once you get west of Cincinnati. But back over the upper Ohio Valley and points east, that is not the case. The front, folks, is on the move now. The front now is moving rather quickly. It's getting down there into South Jersey. It is now just about through Baltimore, right about on top of Washington. So it's something like this as we get to the 6:30 hour. It is moving. It is no longer stationary, I promise you that. The numbers behind the front, 26 in Boston. And mind you, Boston about late morning was about 45 degrees. 32, that 51 of daytime high in New York is it's a bygone, folks. We're not going to see anything near 50 for a while. That includes all day tomorrow, probably hovering at or below freezing. 42 in Philadelphia, 51 in D.C. Enjoy the 50s while you have them. Let's take it back up to the Granite State now, New Hampshire. You can see we did have some liquid on the roadways, but we also had freezing rain falling at the time. So what was falling, at least in the elevated surface areas, was freezing on contact, and now we're just setting up a very cold night. So anything that was out there of the liquid variety freezing in contact, a moment ago I saw temperatures in the low teens there in the Merrimack Valley in Concord, New Hampshire. Well, I'm joined now by our winter weather specialist, Paul Kosten. Paul, it is amazing. This is cold air coming south, moisture coming up, and we thought the timing would be critical here, but it looks like the cold air is going to be laying the foundation in plenty of time to cause a lot of problems tomorrow morning.
Right, the cold air is already into New York, it's already into Boston, it's already coming into Philadelphia, and we've been seeing temperatures that have been dropping across northern Maryland now, so it's obviously heading towards the Baltimore, Washington area. This area is going to be experiencing problems, especially as we get towards rush hour tomorrow.
So you said, I think they're 34 in Hagerstown now versus still 50-ish around the Potomac Valley. They're
Yeah.
not long for the world there, are they?
Yeah, Atlantic City is still around 50, but all you have to do is go through northern Jersey and it's down around 20. But the really amazing thing is to see how cold those temperatures are now in northern New England and New York, where we're just getting to sunset and temperatures are already down around 10 degrees below zero with wind. So their wind chills are probably well below zero.
And that wind, which is now northerly in New York and northerly in Philadelphia, continues to pump cold air further down and getting it thicker, if you will, over those metropolitan areas, setting up for maybe freezing rain, then to snow?
Right, especially in New York and Philadelphia, freezing rain, but there probably in New York will be a changeover to snow sometime before the rush hour.
All right, Paul, let's take a look at this radar picture now. It is starting to fill in. It looks like what we have around the Boston area, generally some pretty light snow, but you talked about that Arctic high coming down. You think this Arctic high may actually suppress some of that precipitation later on tonight in New England?
Well, that's what we've been expecting all day, and that's probably going to occur. But this precipitation that's now building northward across Pennsylvania, New York, looks like it probably will get as far north as Boston, even around the rush hour. So perhaps it won't get as far south as we had once earlier predicted.
Now, how about doing taking an attempt at the freezing rain line, especially around the New York City area?
Okay, right now the freezing rain line has to be something on the order of here, right through the city. It's going just south of Allentown, Pennsylvania, going through Harrisburg. It's probably just north of Hagerstown, and we're probably getting it into the very northern portions of West Virginia. And that again will continue to continue going southward.
And it's going to go south, and as it does so, it looks like there's even more and more moisture coming at this area. Looking at the big satellite picture, you can see there's looks like a spin of a low pressure area here, but look at this speed. Just a constant barrage of fairly tropical air overrunning that cold layer.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, it looks like we will try to be looking for, it's this area basically right around in here is where all the moisture and the energy from the southern stream systems are feeding the moisture in right now for the northeast. It's going to be this second area across the northern plains that's going to be spinning up the storm probably later in the day on Thursday and on Friday. That actually will be bringing in some warmer air, but we have to focus at least initially on the colder air coming in with that huge high that is right now building pressures right around 30.90, getting even closer to 31 inches, sort of a magical number with cold outbreaks, especially in the northeast.
And the Ohio Valley area not spared either. It looks like there's freezing rain around Cincinnati now, so roughly north of about this line is where the problems are this evening.
Right, and they've been experiencing these problems all day, and they're just continuing as that moisture, just look towards the end of it, that moisture was continuing to develop even as it was moving east, just a continual feed to the western part of Indiana and western Kentucky.
And a quick check on the travel-wise now for the overnight hours, Paul. Looks like this colder air is on the march, and it will be impacting the Baltimore-Washington rush hour.
Right, we're expecting now frozen precipitation as far south as northern Virginia and the upper part of the Delmarva. That cold air is going to be with the high pressure, if I could find it, the high pressure is going to be north of the region, and we will see those winds continue to come down like that, and that will force those cold conditions to change whatever precipitation to some form of frozen.
All right, Paul Cosin, our winter weather specialist. Thanks a lot, Paul. So,
Thanks, Bill.
top and down the corridor, up and down the corridor, I should say, we're going to see some problems for the rush hour on Thursday. Hopefully get some warmer air in, but might not be much before Friday as we see it now. Check us out at the website at weather.com if you're away from the set. We have some good news in other areas, specifically California and Florida. And for that, let's turn it back to the studio.
All right, thanks, Bill. This Weather Center is sponsored by Land Rover. We do have the potential for strong thunderstorms across the Gulf Coast as that colder air is clashing with the warm, moist air. We've seen some strong thunderstorms near Harris County, just outside of Houston. There's the clash zone, much colder behind the front in the 30s. Out ahead of it, we're talking about 60s and 70s. Across the Intermountain West, temperatures are not bad at all. High pressure still in control, but a new weather system is going to be pushing on into Washington State, and that's going to create that possibility of scattered showers for you. Not so much tonight, but into the day tomorrow. So as we check out tomorrow morning, you'll see the possibility of rain increasing from Seattle to Portland, and you're going to see the possibility of rain increasing across the southeast as well. But this is where the biggest problem is going to be, and we are talking about a lot of ice, freezing rain from Philly to Pittsburgh, and maybe even all the way into the Jersey Shore. Talking about a mix for you in New York City, right on through tomorrow evening's rush, and it looks pretty nasty all across the Northeast into tomorrow evening. We'll definitely be keeping you posted. You stay tuned. Coming up next, we have